right, well, we have a good crowd, so I will get started. For those of you that don't know us, we are Parasol Alliance. We host 4 of these thought leadership webinar series a year. We are a full service IT company with a core in strategic planning. We've done about 90 strategic assessments and we just expanded to the UK. So lots of exciting things happening for us. A recording of this demo will be sent out afterwards. So if you have to hop off early, no worries. And then the winner of the $100 Amazon gift card will be notified via email. First up, we have Ramiro and Dr. Wright with UprightVR. So kick us off.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you for having us. Look forward to discussion with you all. Little bit of introduction. My name is Ramiro. I'm a physical therapist by trade. Have been in the world of fall prevention and dizziness reduction for well over a decade now. A company called UprightVR, where we do some pretty high-level, state-of-the-art type of things using virtual reality to provide you all with a very comprehensive fall management tool. So not only are we able to assess risk and find out exactly what component of balance is at risk, but we also provide rehab modules. So I put together a little presentation. Feel free to ask questions as they come through, and I will do my best to use the technology well. Here we go. Let's see. Okay, hopefully you all are seeing that. Jeff, if you want to just give a thumbs up if you see the product overview screen. Perfect. So here we are with the product overview, really kind of high level overview of the tool and what's capable of doing. First and foremost, we all know the risk and the side impact that falls has on seniors, on people as they age, on our residents. Here are some high level statistics. 36 million seniors fall every year. 1 in 3 adults over the age of 65, of those 2 in 3 are at high risk. Over 80, 4 in 5 are at high risk. 8 million injuries per year, including hip fractures, ER trips. Unfortunately, results in 36,000 deaths per year. For Medicare expenses, this is a $50 billion direct annual cost. And that's at the high level. That's a societal impact for our communities, right? So we know what that means as well. So it means loss of, occupancy. Often when these individuals leave for a fall, when they come back, they might need a higher level of care. These individuals require higher levels of care. Unfortunately, puts burden on the staff, leading to higher potential rates of burnout for these individuals. And then, of course, the resident themselves and the dignity lost after a fall. Typically the story around a fall is either someone has had a fall or they're very fearful of falling. And what that tends to lead to is a lack of mobility, which unfortunately puts them at higher risk for falls. So this, really negative feedback loop that kind of exposes them to a higher risk for falls. So our goal, what we want to do is expose that risk early on, give them education and knowledge around it so the fear is removed from the situation, and we can intervene well before that fall occurs because we know exactly how to intervene. So quickly, what I'm going to do, again, I'm going to speak to the product. I'm going to talk about our fall risk assessment tool briefly, and I'll show you our rehab games, which we have recently been finding out that people and communities love the games. They find them extremely engaging. Oftentimes they like to play them and not even realize that they're working on their balance. They'll just kind of get in there and play for a while and have a great time. A little bit about crossing T's and dotting I's. It's a FDA registered class 2 medically exempt device, fully HIPAA compliant, as well as patent pending. The science, decades of research has gone into the device. So Dr. Wright is one of the founders and inventor of the tool. He is a PhD in neuroscience, currently a professor at Temple University. He's been doing research in VR and balance for decades, and so all the science is built into the tool within all of our algorithms. So we have studied, there's a lot of normative data out there around healthy balance. People with what's known as vestibular loss or even peripheral neuropathies or some type of central integration issue like a TBI or concussion. Tons of that research is out there. All those algorithms are built into our tool to be able to identify this fall risk. The tool itself, low cost, extremely portable, ultra portable. This is the tool right here. Comes with the VR headset, the case, foam pads. We don't provide the laptop. We provide you access to our HIPAA compliant website. You can operate the tool anywhere you get access to that website. So via a laptop or a tablet, whatever is most accessible to you. And in the process, you could test anywhere. You only need standing room to perform the test. Takes only 10 minutes or less to perform. It's comprised of 8 20-second total assessments, and you get an immediate result of reports. Again, here's an image of someone being tested in their community, in their actual room, and a little image of what that looks like. Now, finally, the test itself. So this footage will be sped up, but here we are testing in a resident's room and going through that. So again, this footage is sped up. 8 total assessments, so 8 conditions. It's eyes open first on firm ground. It looks like a space capsule. So if this person were to look around that entire spaceship, it'll kind of look like a scene out of Star Trek. They're just kind of looking inside the spaceship, looking out of a window. This next condition is eyes closed condition. The room does go dark on the individual, so if they can't close their eyes, they are in a pitch black environment. Again, assess for 20 seconds, where we assess that level of sway with the headset. Next condition, you won't see much happening on the screen here, but what we do is we fix the image in place. So it looks like no matter how much that person sways, the room is still fixed in front of them. So this is giving them faulty visual information. So they need to use other systems of balance to keep them upright. This next one, again, this is sped up footage. We're going to spin the environment. So this is the most unique one and something that is unique to us because of what we could do with the immersive elements of VR. The room will spin on the patient. Again, it does not spin that fast. This is sped up footage. It really helps us to tease out any integration issues between any of the balance components that comprise balance, which again, if you aren't familiar with that, those components are vestibular, equilibrium, what people kind of considered part of their the inner ear, tactile, so what you can feel, somatosensory, and vision, what we see. Those 3 systems comprise our balance system. Following that test, this is an exact report of what it looks like, a 1-page report. This section here that I'm highlighting, I realize it may be small for you all to see, but there's a lot of bold language underneath for individuals to help open up that conversation and again, help to kind of demystify balance and what's going on with a specific individual. So these are the 3 components of balance and also some of the integration components of balance that we're picking up on. So in the areas that are green, that means they performed well in that area. Yellow is caution. Red, it means that they failed that condition. In the areas that it says that are green, it'll just say something like you performed excellent in this area. For those areas where there's an issue, whether it be yellow or red, then we give them some language around what that may feel like to them. So in this situation, they failed an integration component known as our visual vestibular mismatch. What it says there in bold is area for concern. You're going to want to use caution in a busy environment like standing near traffic or even watching action movies. We find that this helps really open up that dialogue with that individual. Again, helps to demystify falls. Often it's kind of like, yeah, that is where I have my deficits. And there's something you could do about that. And then that opening up that discussion of saying, yes, there's ways that we can improve your balance there. Upper right, this is for more of maybe clinical based individuals. We provide a science-based clinical interpretation. Again, this is instantly generated. It'll say very clinical language. I'm not going to read all that, but it'll suggest if something is an integrative issue, meaning maybe it was caused by even a potential for concussion, mild TBI, whatever it may be, or if it's peripheral in nature, meaning it's part of the other components of balance. But that'll be something there where if you were to follow up with rehab for this individual, that'll be very useful for the clinicians that'll follow up with that. At the very top, Just very simple lay language of the overall fall risk profile of this individual. Are they high, medium, or low fall risk? So you can stratify all of your residents and see exactly where they come within their fall risk profiles. At the very bottom, this is a patient progress tool. So on each individual report, you'll be able to see how well a person is tracking over time. The 5 most recent tests will be at the bottom there. We find that residents think this is extremely motivating. They love being able to see reds turn to yellows, yellows turn to green. It keeps them motivated and engaged in the process and engaged in pulling their fall risk profile into a low fall risk profile. More importantly, or even at a higher level, you could track by entire resident facilities or communities. If you have multiple communities, you could even divvy it up in that way as well. You could see how many times a first-time assessment was performed, how many people were at high fall risk or medium fall risk, what is your 12-month fall risk profile. You'll be able to track how many people have increased fall risk or have decreased their fall risk over time. You'll be able to monitor that fall risk of your residents, monitor the success of your programs and your wellness programs that you've implemented to reduce fall risk across your communities. Track your changes over time. Ideally, you'll be able to see those changes of people that have come in with high levels of fall risk and notice how much you're decreasing that risk. And then finally, most importantly, if you're noticing individuals that are going into that increased fall risk range, intervene quickly. One of our catchphrases is that we like to catch them before they fall. So our tool is sensitive and specific enough to be able to pick up on these deficits well before a fall occurs so that we can intervene quickly. In a little bit, and I'm not sure if I touched this enough, but the actual tool itself, it is highly standardized. So anyone that can guard a resident, that knows how to guard them safely, can conduct a test, because the test itself actually just kind of runs it right through. There's a narrator over the testing procedure so that a non-clinician can actually perform this test, and then later on you could have a clinician look at that material if necessary. We have advanced the tool to also create fall prevention games and modules that are really just kind of honestly a lot of fun to play. So there's a lot of language on here. Again, what we're addressing are the specific impairments that we know cause fall risk to occur. So our deficits, our games work specifically on those deficits that we find, and we have a whole host of games. I believe we have something like 10 currently on the headset. 12 total that are kind of being worked on, and once we make these modules, they appear on your headset to be able to for your residents to play. Here's some of those games right here. So this is a game that works on weight shifting and reaching. The games also meet the level at the patient that they're able to tolerate. So we calibrate each game, right? So if a person has to start in seated position, you can start in seated position. If you could then progress them to standing, then it calibrates to that. If in the game the game picks up that the patient is not successful with picking up the coins in this case, then it'll tighten that range of where the coins are coming in. But if they are successful, then it'll start to slightly broaden that out, so it becomes more challenging for that individual, truly challenging their balance. People love these games. They find them extremely engaging, a lot of fun to use. Here's another video that we created recently. This is in the lab, so it'll be a younger, healthy person performing this game, but it's a skiing game. Here we see this person has to lean in order to be able to control the skier on screen. Leaning forward makes them go faster, leaning back makes them go slower. Tons of fun to play. I mean, we were just at a fall risk screening, kind of a balance event for a resident community. We had one resident play the game for like 45 minutes. Just loved it. We couldn't take the headset off of him. So again, it's also a great wellness and engagement tool as well. People get to work on their balance without even knowing that they are. This slide is just to point out that falls can be prevented. Over on the left-hand side of the screen, those 3 patients there, those are individuals that are coming in at very high fall risk profiles, right? So the gray dots means that they couldn't even perform that test on initial evaluation. That gentleman all the way on the right, came in with a relatively low fall risk profile. So those three on the left, they went through physical therapy, went through rehab. The gentleman all the way on the right just did Tai Chi. Notice how well all of them performed, how well all of them basically got to that low risk profile of that gentleman all the way on the right, just to show your patients that falls can be prevented, that it is not a, by any way a terminal kind of illness or a terminal kind of, death sentence. We can intervene quickly and we could reduce these fall risk profiles. And that's it. That's it for my end as far as the presentation. So I'd love to open it up to comments, and I'll stop sharing at this point.
Thank you, Ramiro. It was exciting to see that. So we just had Upright VR on our podcast, episode 63, if anybody wants to go listen. So it was nice to like put the games to what I learned on the podcast. We have a couple questions. First question is, who normally conducts the assessments?
Sure. So it could be any host of individuals. So if you happen to have rehab on premises, then you can have a rehab professional do it. But again, we made the tool in such a way that anybody could perform the test. So if you were to use it in such a way that if you had some type of fall management program, you could have a wellness provider do it, an engagement provider do it. You could even have somebody who's just skilled at guarding an individual to perform the test. And then have a more clinical person read the results later. At the very least, anybody will be able to perform a test and know at the very top if this person is a high, medium, or low fall risk profile, so they could intervene quickly right away. So it's really meant and intended for people that don't have as much scientific or even a clinical or medical background, all the way up to individuals that want that data. You could deep dive further even to the data if you want to. But as far as conducting the tests, extremely easy to perform. As long as you can guard an individual, you can perform the test.
Awesome. I love that. Next question is, what makes Upright VR unique from other falls management solutions?
Sure. Dr. Wright, you want to start with that and I could add in?
Yeah, I think what we've really tried to do is take in some commercially available technology and designed our own software and then validated it on that. So what we offer is a full balance fall risk reduction plan. So we identify the fall risk and then we treat it, and it is ultra portable, so it can be done anywhere. And of course, as Ramiro mentioned, it's affordable so that you can have multiple units at multiple different residencies and really be using them on a lot of different residents. And it's quite engaging. I think virtual reality, as everybody knows, is kind of on that cutting edge where it's going to show up in a lot of homes as well as in a lot of situations where it hasn't been used before. So I think that we've hoped that we've got something that is unique in being able to identify problems and then treat them.
Yeah, just to hit that even more so is that there's not a lot of tools out there that do both, that do assessment
Yeah.
and treatment of the tool. So the dual kind of the nature of our device is kind of unique to us as well. So we're kind of this full fall management solution where you can identify it, you could treat it, you could track it, and kind of go from there. And again, the residents love playing the games. The games alone are just kind of fun and exciting.
Thank you for that. And last question is, how can VR be used for balance improvement?
Can we take that one, Ramiro?
Sure, you can start. Yeah.
Yeah, what is unique about virtual reality is that it has this visual stimulation that interacts with your other senses. And so your brain actually has to solve this problem of, is this visual information something that my brain can use to keep my balance? So normally healthy individuals, young individuals do this quite well. As we get older, our senses get less and less sensitive, and our brain, our central nervous system gets a little bit slower and not as good at processing. So the virtual reality is really challenging those systems so that it's almost like it's a workout for your brain, and it's improving it through this habituation and training to improve that sensory integration.
I love that, a workout for your brain. All right. Well, Dr. Wright, I hope you have a safe flight to Florida. Ramiro, have a great weekend. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Next, we have James with Further. We love Further at Parasol Alliance. We have them on our website. So James, whenever you're ready.
Great, thank you. Excited to be here. Thank you for having me. So I will also share my screen here and get started. Okay. Yeah, so like I said, thank you so much for being for having me today. Excited to tell you more about Further. Further is a go-to-market automation platform specifically for senior living. We got started in senior living about 10 years ago with a different business. We were doing lead generation in a performance marketing setting. And in doing that, we realized that there was a whole host of tooling that needed to be built in order to really drive more performance from an NOI and occupancy perspective. And there's a lot of opportunity basically to help the buyer journey for prospects and get more individuals to tour the community, and as a result, more move-ins. We're live in just over 5,200 communities across North America. We have really high customer retention rates by sort of continually improving our service. And most importantly, we've tracked everything since the beginning, and we have looked at what actually is driving more move-ins, what language, what experiences, what workflows. And we've constantly improved the platform and measured from start to finish to see, are we actually improving occupancy? Are we actually driving more move-ins, or are we, or is the experiment or item that we're rolling out not necessarily working? And so that's a key point of what we do. Looking at our product set, we have 3 products, and then I was going to spend some time today talking mostly about our second product. Our first product is we call it Web and Data. This started out almost 5 years ago as a sort of basic chatbot, and has turned into really this conversion platform. So we are talking to prospects in a forum setting, chat, more of a chatbot setting, phone, and we're trying to do education, we're trying to do discovery, and we're trying to ask the right question to keep them moving down the sales journey. A crazy stat for me is that there's about 4 tours for every 1,000 web visitors to a standard senior living website. But when we can actually get someone to come tour the building, conversion rates are more like the 2 move-ins for every 4 tours. So clearly, sales teams are excellent when they can actually see a prospect in person, get them into the building, explain the value prop of senior living. It's just very, very hard to get consumers to come tour buildings. And that's really what our Web and Data product is focused on. We use a mixture of A/B testing and created a lot of workflow with industry CRMs to ensure that no leads are lost, and we can move as many of them down the sales funnel as possible. Our second product, AI, email, and SMS, we've been working on this for about 3 years. So we launched it shortly after we launched Further as a company, and we've basically been training a large language model to be able to have automated conversations with prospects. Sales teams are really busy. There's too many leads, and leads are the large majority of very low quality, or have a very low chance of moving in. And so if we can talk to prospects and move them down the sales funnel in a more automated way, it leaves more time for sales teams to do higher value activities, and we can get more tours booked this way as a result. So that's been really critical to us to continue increasing visitor to move-in rates for our customers. And then our last product that we've most recently launched is a pricing intelligence platform. And so one of the things we've realized on the customer acquisition side is how important pricing is to the customer acquisition conversation. Consumers are becoming much smarter. They're much better educated than they were even a couple of years ago. And being more intelligent in how we help our customers price, from gathering competitive market analysis and doing comparison, it's a big opportunity from our perspective, going back to our mission to help increase NOI for our customers. One of the big things that we do is really workflow. Workflow is critical to the senior living sales process. If you think about the customers that we have, extremely high price point, relatively undereducated, a lot to explain. And so it's really important when you do get someone who you have a chance of landing, you don't want to miss that individual. So making sure that that lead got to the CRM, that someone followed up with them, that their speed to lead happened, that you tracked everything from start to finish is really critical. And so we have our front end tooling, which is how we communicate with prospects, but then our workflow piece of what we do is also critical because it ensures that we can measure everything and that, that no opportunities are lost as part of the sales and marketing process. Data infrastructure, analytics, and integrations. So this kind of pairs in nicely with what we're doing from a workflow perspective, being able to measure everything from first click through to move in, and then adding conversion all along the way. We integrate with all the industry CRMs, email platforms, calendar platforms, workflow platforms, marketing automation, kind of everything within the industry. And then even more recently, we're starting to integrate more and more for our customers with data lakes. And as customers are setting up their own data lakes, making sure that we're getting really great and complete data over to them so they can continue to improve their sales and marketing processes. I touched on this already, our AI, SMS, and email, being able to talk to prospects all the time and get answers to them quickly. This works over email and over SMS, and the way we developed the system, and I'm going to go into more detail about this in just a minute here, is basically we had a team of community sales and marketing, former community sales and marketing directors, and they trained an LLM. And they basically trained the LLM to book as many tours as possible and get as many prospects who are out there looking and researching senior living to commit to coming into the building and experiencing the community for themselves. Over time, we've gone from fully manual to almost 90% automated, and we've measured the impact. And so customers who have actually rolled this out have been seeing a 33% increase in conversion for leads enrolled in the program. So kind of circling up on our value proposition, a lift in lead volume is something that's our customers experience almost instantly from going live. And really high quality leads is the key. So we have to identify which leads are are likely to move in and get them to sales teams. We have a lift, obviously, in the through our messaging platform or SMS and email that increases the lead to revenue conversion. We get better engagement from sales teams by providing more insights and more discovery to them. Our customers see increases in occupancy, and they can see within their CRM platforms and reporting platforms the actual impact of our program. And we have a very unique view on marketing and being able to actually drive marketing forward through some of the metrics that we've developed using AI and predictive analytics to figure out are our marketing efforts working or not working, and how can we improve them over time. And so I'll pause there on our platform. And today I was going to spend a minute on showing you. Whoops. I was going to spend a minute showing you how we have trained our LLM over time and what that looks like. Give me 1 second here. Screen dropped. Okay, here we go. So what you're looking at here is basically the system that we have used to train the large language model that runs our SMS and email platform. And the way this has worked over time is when we started over here, you can see that we suggested labels to our team and suggested answers, and they would either accept or not accept them over time. And over time, as we got better with the LLM and as our team trained more and more messages, and this is almost 250,000 messages that have been trained over here, we slowly added automation. This is very hard because making a mistake is extremely expensive, and so we had to be very defensive in the way we ran our automation and the way we trained the LLM to make sure that we're not saying the wrong thing to a really high quality prospect. If someone wants to come for a tour and we get that message wrong, the cost could be extremely high given how difficult it is to find a prospect who is able to move into a community. So we've been very defensive in how we've rolled this out. And over time, we've basically had our team training the model, and most recently we got up just above 90% in terms of our automation. And then over here, another view on the same data set, and being able to see how we went from manual messages to basically this dark color over here is automated over time. And we have a whole observability platform as it relates to this. So being able to see what conversations we're having, what labels we're using to figure out how to respond to prospects. We can't just, we looked at just opening this up to ChatGPT and letting it kind of go at, have these prospect conversations, and the hallucinations, the issues, the errors that pop up. You really need a layer in between what the prospect is doing and the large language model. And so this observability platform has basically allowed us over time to ensure that we have really high quality conversations with prospects, and we're actually helping book more tours for our customers. All right, that's it in terms of my presentation. Thanks so much for listening, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. We have a few questions. What else can LLMs automate as part of the sales and marketing function?
Yeah, it's a great question. Conversations is an obvious one, but then there's a whole host of other things that that you need to do as it relates to communication. So as you're putting together marketing automation, as you're putting together content for your website, as you're putting together content to share with prospects from an educational perspective, those are all great use cases. As these LLM opportunities as they get better and as they're more capable, I think we're going to see more and more of the more manual parts of the sales and marketing process, whether it's paperwork or whether it's following up with prospects after they've moved in. Adding in layers and layers of automation to support what sales teams are doing and enable them to spend time on higher value efforts is going to be a major thing.
Thank you. Next question is, why can't you just have ChatGPT do this?
Yeah, and I kind of addressed that. When we looked at, we started with ChatGPT, and we use it actually for specific cases. So we use it to help us understand tour times and tour dates and extract that in a structured way. But as you're having conversations back and forth with prospects, you need a level of control. You need to make sure you don't say something that is going to upset a prospect or tell them incorrect information. And these are really sensitive situations. These are typically people need answers quickly, and ensuring that you have a level of protection in between what's been sent out and what a large language model can do is really important.
Thank you. And last question is, what goes wrong with AI implementations?
I think the biggest thing that we've seen is if you don't have really strong monitoring and logging in place, it's easy for things to be happening with prospects that you don't know about. And so making sure that you have a system that is looking at every message in an automated way, because obviously if you try to do this manually, it's almost impossible. So having automated systems in place to ensure accuracy and ensure quality, I think is probably the most important thing. And those systems need to be built before we can roll out LLMs in a larger way. And I know there's a lot of people working on that, and it's going to make these platforms very powerful.
Great, thank you. All right, I hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you.
All right, Alex, you're next. Alex is with Uniguest, so whenever you're ready.
Great, thanks, Amanda. Let me get my screen up here. Can you all see this? Okay.
Yes, we can.
So awesome, thank you. Alex Giusti. I joined the Uniguest senior living team back about a year ago now, so back in November of 2023 as the VP of Sales for Senior Living. Prior to that, I actually spent a long time working in hospitality, so working with a lot of independent and boutique style hotels, and then, decided for a career change and wanted to serve the senior living industry. So let's talk about Uniguest and who we are. So Uniguest is the most trusted provider of digital engagement technology. We were established in 1986. We are the third largest provider for digital signage. And really, the goal of our company is to give our clients an opportunity to connect with their audience via modern and effective digital channels. So I'll talk a little bit about our corporate history because, as I mentioned, we were established in 1986. We took on the name of Uniguest back in 2009. We started primarily in the hospitality hotels industry, shifted into some more of like media, like stadiums and such. And then you'll notice in 2019, that's when we really delved into the senior living space. So we acquired Touchtown, which many of you may be familiar with that name. And then a few years later, we acquired Sagely. And then most recently, we acquired Eversound back in 2023. So, really taking our time to expand in senior living and also take that technology that we've, vetted and rolled out in the hospitality world and bring that into the senior living communities and senior living space. So as you can see, we work with over 18,000 hotels globally. We're now in 3,400 senior living communities. And then, as I mentioned, we also work with stadiums, arenas, different sort of concert venues, colleges, universities, and then we're expanding over, 100 plus countries with 370,000 managed endpoints. So this is just an example of some of our clients that we work with. I won't spend a ton of time on here, but as you can see, we're in, we're spread quite across the senior living space, whether that's with some of our Touchtown technology, our Sagely technology, or our Eversound technology. But primarily our main focus, like I said, is digital engagement. So the solutions that we're providing are digital signage. As I mentioned, we're the largest or third largest digital signage provider globally. Then we also have resident TV, community apps, voice assist, wireless audio enhancement, and community programs. I'll get into what all of those sort of look like as I talk through this here, but Uniguest community. So you all may be familiar with Touchtown and Sagely and Eversound, but we're rebranding here to become one Uniguest community. So we're still going to have, the variety of different products, but we're really making progress to get those products to speak to each other and work together. So that it's going to make it much easier to meet all of your needs. In terms of what we offer from an engagement perspective, so we have calendars, we have newsletters, we have digital signs, family and resident apps, activity tracking, advanced reporting. I'll get into more of this as we jump through, but to talk through digital signage, that's really been the core of what we do here. The goal of the digital signage is for you to be able to communicate with your residents through those digital signs. So really to provide them with updates on, activities for the day, maybe different happy hours going on. Maybe you're sharing something like, the menu, the lunch menu or the dinner menu for the day. But the nice part about this is that it's all centrally managed, right? So it's all managed through the cloud. And what you can do is, you can schedule different events, you can schedule different programs, and you can take those and within a click of a button, you can send those out to the variety of digital signs that you have across your different communities. Here's an example of, what a digital sign would look like. So we have, you have the ability to really take control over the content that you want shared on those digital signs. You can edit that content, manage that content in real time. It's all done through the cloud. So, you make one quick edit, it's going to appear on the digital sign within seconds. If you ever have, difficulty managing this content, we have a tech support team that's available 24/7, 365 days a year. Along with that, we provide you with different design layouts that can be custom to each of your locations. So there's lots of flexibility in sort of how you manage this and the layout and the design that you have. But it's really, the nice part about it is it's going to help you engage with residents. It's going to help keep your residents in the know. But then it's also going to give your community that nice branded feel that you see in a lot of hospitality locations. The other piece of this too is, many communities have digital signs all throughout. So, some have 3, some have 5, some have 10, some have 20. You can choose what type of content you want displayed on each sign. So, in the lobby, for example, you could have more sort of a welcoming type message. However, in the cafeteria, you can do something, a little bit different where it's showing the menu for the day. So you choose where you display the signs, where you display the content, and then within a click of a button, it's sent out. Here's, a few different examples of what the signs look like, the type of content that you can share, but it's really great for communicating messaging and also for keeping residents engaged. From a corporate level, so, we work with a lot of communities that have corporate headquarters, larger portfolios, not just with one community, but with 10 to, 100 communities, for example. So we have enterprise branding tools, which makes it really easy for corporate to have control over the messaging and also to manage all of their communities from the top. So this is an option that's available. We do this with a lot of our group portfolios. And like I said, very similar to my previous slide, it's, you choose which content you're going to display within each community and send it out from there. This is just a quick example of what it looks like, but, you have your content manager. From that content manager, that's where you go in as the director or whoever it may be managing this. You go through the content manager and then you choose where to display each, portion of information. One section too, so calendars, it's auto-generated, which makes it really easy to use. So you can print them out, you can post them on the web, you can feature the calendars on your signs. For, different levels of care, you can choose which type of calendars you're wanting to adjust. So you could have a calendar that's showing, only for independent living. You could have a calendar if you have, sort of a mix of the two that's showing for memory care. You can have a calendar showing for assisted living. And then you can also have all of those calendars combined together. So it separates things out, makes it really easy to use. The designs within Sagely here are awesome. That's, what we get most feedback on, but it definitely just gives you a variety of different ways to display your content. And then with that, you can track attendance for activities. So let's say, you have your calendar posted and you have a variety of activities coming up for the day. You can see who's attending those activities. You can, pull reporting on attendance. You can pull reporting on residents and sort of how their participation is through those activities. And the nice part too is you can share all of this with their family members. So family members always like to see, what's going on in the communities, what activities are available. A lot of the time, family members get feedback that maybe there's not too much going on. Their relatives are bored or, there's nothing really for them to do. But with the family member connection, they can actually go in and see what type of activities are coming up. So they can share with their families, hey, this is coming up today. Why don't you go and attend? This sounds like a lot of fun. Maybe there's bingo night. Maybe there's an art class. Maybe there's some sightseeing. So it definitely is a great way to keep families in the know, but also provide families with updates. Next, we have community apps. A lot of you may be familiar with this, with the Touchtown community app. It's a really great way to keep residents engaged. So it's one platform, same thing from the content manager. You, as an activities director, for example, you go into that content manager and then you push out all information through the community app. Some of the main features in here would be the activity planning, signing up for activities, going through and seeing the menu for the evening or for lunch. We have our resident directory, which I really love because it allows other residents to engage with each other. The nice thing with the resident directory, for example, is if a resident is in there and they're looking for someone with common interests, they can go through and search tennis, for example, and see everyone in the community that's interested in playing tennis. And then from there, they can start connecting with them. So it's a really good way for residents to get to know each other, connect, but also just be involved. So as I mentioned, we have a variety of different apps that we host. So we have the resident app, the staff app, the family app, the prospects app, and then the kiosk. So from that content manager, you control where you're sharing information through each app. So if you want to take the lunch menu for the day and share that across all of the apps we have, you can go ahead. However, if you only want content shared with a family member and a resident, you have the option to choose that. Same thing with prospects and staff, and with the kiosk as well. So very customizable, but it allows you to take content and share it with one group, involved in the community or with all of them. Click through here. Community apps, again, just giving you an idea of the variety of different things you can include in your app. And then with community programs, it's a great way for activity directors to quickly come up with different ideas that they can roll out within their communities. So basically, we do the work for you, and then you go from there and schedule out your programs. Just to give an idea of who we work with. So we have a lot of integrations. This is an idea of some of the integrations we have, but I think the key point here is that anyone you're looking to be integrated with, we have a team entirely dedicated to these integrations. So if there's some providers that are not listed on here that some communities need to be integrated with, that's definitely something we've built a team out for, and we're taking a lot of our time and spending that on integration specifically this year. So just something to keep in mind for the future. Next piece is resident TV. So resident TV, we have a few different types of TV. We have our TV Plus in-room channel here. With the TV Plus in-room channel, that's managed right from the content manager. And it's basically a channel that's added into your lineup of cable. And it allows residents to hop on there and see different activities going on in the day, maybe the dinner menu, like I said, same types of things probably that you would feature on a digital sign, but instead that's in their, that's in their resident on their home TV. Another thing too is if you want to stream something, you can stream something. So if you have some videos, if you have some movies that you want to feature on there, those can all be streamed directly through TV Plus. The next version of this is actually a little bit different. So this is more like something you'd see in hotels where it's interactive TV. We call it IPTV. IPTV is going to allow you to take control over the entire channel list. So it's cloud-based in-room TV. It basically replaces your cable. So you're not, paying the cable provider like you would with the TV Plus in-room channel. With this, you have that really nice branded experience. When the resident turns their TV on, you control the welcome screen, and then you control all of the channels. And then the nice part too is you're not, spending much time on the phone with cable providers troubleshooting. We're going to be there to support you and help you with all of that. Lastly here, so last thing we have is EverSound, as many of you may know. So wireless audio enhancement. This is one of our favorite products to sell here, where we are now providing these EverSound headsets, which are designed to really help seniors be more engaged. We find that a lot of seniors that, for example, are attending events, they struggle with hearing loss, and they feel like they can't really comprehend everything going on as a result of not being able to hear well. So with EverSound, that has solved that problem, where it actually is a transmitter that anyone running an event is able to speak into, and the residents can put the headsets on and be able to hear much better. Another nice piece of this too is when family comes to visit, they can use these headsets to better communicate, so that the residents who are hard of hearing or suffering from hearing loss, they're able to better communicate and understand what their family is saying. So just a few quick positive outcomes. I know we're a little tight on time here, but just talking through how this is going to help directors at the communities. So improving resident and family satisfaction, that's number one here. But just giving an overall better sense of community, stronger community reputation, and making that communication process much quicker and faster and efficient. Home office and VP is pretty similar, I would say, but more at that enterprise level. It's going to allow them to take control over all of the different communities within their portfolio, making it very easy to streamline communication and keep that same branded experience throughout each community. And then with activity directors and coordinators, here, it's just going to make things much easier on that end in terms of communicating out to residents, keeping your residents engaged and happy, and giving them that true community feel. And then lastly, for residents, the biggest thing here is that, we're here to serve the residents within your communities, and we want them to feel more engaged. We want them to be happy. We want them to, be able to better communicate with their neighbors or others living within the community. But we also want them to know what's going on and be able to find activities that make sense for them, that they're interested in, and feel like they're part of a community. And that's the overall goal here, which is, where I'll end with the ultimate experience for residents and their family to feel like they have that true community feel. And with that, I'll hand it back to you, Amanda.
Thank you, Alex. Since we are short on time, I'm going to email you these questions so that you can reach out to our guests later. All right, Braden, you are last with Senior Sign, and just so everybody knows, Senior Sign was also on our podcast, and you can listen to the episode 60. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Amanda. So like Amanda said, we are Senior Sign. So Senior Sign is just a software for managing and signing like move-in and admission paperwork. So we help kind of manage the whole move-in process from the beginning. So just like anything that involves getting documents prepared and getting signatures from residents, collecting attachments and physician forms, and then kind of sending them where they need to go after that. So it sounds like a pretty simple software and simple thing, and it is, and it should be. We're often finding that a lot of communities are coming to work with us because of some challenges that they're experiencing. So just want to kind of talk through some of the challenges we've seen that communities are dealing with, and then kind of how we are able to handle those. So a lot of times we're seeing that staff is being overwhelmed just by the amount of paperwork they have to do. They have like out-of-state residents or family members or power of attorneys that they need to send paperwork to. but they don't have a way to send it. So they're either emailing like PDFs and having them print those off and sign them and then send them back. Or some are even still sending like physical paper packets in the mail to residents, which takes sometimes weeks to get back. And then some come back missing or pages gone and things like that. So it becomes a little complicated. We're often finding too in campuses like life plan communities, staff is having to walk across campus to give paperwork to billing or different departments that need to touch paperwork. And they just spend a lot of time scanning and uploading paperwork. So another worry that we see is some worries about compliance. So pages or signatures missing from documents can cause like fines and things like that. So, or just the worry about our communities not being in compliance. And then there started to be this movement, and especially from COVID, to start using e-sign solutions, like whether that's DocuSign or some sort of e-sign. But communities are finding that there still needs to be someone in charge of kind of running DocuSign, building all the documents in them and managing them. And it's often like a high paid employee that is doing just administrative work, and companies don't want to pay for that. They want their high paid employees to be doing other things. So, and a lot of times they're paying for these solutions like DocuSign or Adobe Sign, but residents are still wanting to come in person and sign. So then they're doing paper and paying for this solution. So sometimes it causes a bit of a paying for something and not using it as much. So those are a few challenges that we've kind of been seeing. I'm not sure if anyone listening is also experiencing those, but what I wanted to do is just share my screen to our software, show you kind of how we handle some of those challenges. So this here is kind of just like the main dashboard of our software. It has lists of residents and information about them. And as we go through here, you can just add a resident's name. So just an example resident here and an email. Once you do that, you can choose like a care type and add what care type they're going to be in, as well as like a unit number and whoever's using, whoever's helping that resident move in. And then this is kind of where all the documents live for a company. So if a community has like all their documents, they just send us the PDF versions of those. We digitize them and build the templates, and then allow you to add like a assisted living packet. So you can add those things. You can also take off anything or add anything that needs to be added from there. Give that a due date of when that resident's going to be moving in. And that's kind of how you create a move-in packet. From there, you're able to prepare documents before you send it out to the resident by entering things into the template, as well as you have a couple of options you can send once you prepare these documents. If I come here, add any information that's there. Once you do that, you can, it'll be ready to send out to the resident. So once that's finished, you can come back over here and you'll have the option to either send this to a person remotely or to their family member remotely, or they can come in person and sign with you while you sit down with them, because we see the majority of our residents still like to do that. Just an example of what that looks like once you enter in some information here. You'll be able to come in here. This is what the resident sees on their side when they're signing documents. They can come in here, select down through their document, click to sign them with their signature. And then the resident, or from the community's perspective, they can also sign and date there. And once they finish that document, it will show that it's complete. And the resident can work through that from home. They can also add any attachments that they need, like photo IDs and insurance cards, and or any physician forms that they need to upload. So then the community doesn't have to spend the time gathering those. After those things are completed, you will have the ability to then export those documents. We find that a lot of people in the community need to touch these documents, whether it's billing. Some need to go to their EHR platform, and you're able to export those documents there so everyone else in the community can access them. So that really is kind of the simple overview of what our software does and how it kind of solves those problems within the move-in process. So just encourage you, if you know, you have any questions, or if you don't know what your community is currently doing for those, then to reach out to them and see if a tool like that could also help. So
Thank you. I know we have some mutual clients and everybody always has nothing but positive things to say about Senior Sign. Real quick, we have a couple questions for you. What departments in the communities usually handle the implementation?
So usually what the implementation, like what the software is for, is the sales and marketing kind of department. But implementation wise, we do that for you. We have a customer success team that will set up all your documents. They'll onboard you and provide training throughout the partnership. So that kind of is off of your departments in your community, and we kind of take care of that. So
Thank you. Next question is, how do you handle documents that need to be updated or changed?
yeah, so that's also our customer success team will handle any changes to documents, any updates to documents. We know there's like yearly and sometimes other changes that need to happen. So we take care of all that for you. Like we said, we don't want your employees taking their time out of their day to do administrative tasks like that. So, yeah. That's
great. And last question, how do you help with concerns communities have with implementing a system like this?
Yeah, I mean, it can be a big lift to implement new systems, and it takes a lot of lift work from the community. So we have a customer success rep that's assigned to your community. They're going to be able to do all the onboarding, do all the training, and provide support throughout the partnership. So we hope that that helps to have a good rollout and a successful kind of partnership. So
thank you. Thank you everybody for participating. Sorry we went a couple minutes over. We will be drawing for a $100 Amazon gift card, and I will notify the winner via email, and then I will also be sending out a recording. All right, everybody, have a great weekend. If anybody has any follow-up questions, feel free to email me or any of the panelists. And then once you exit the webinar, you will see a survey that will pop up, and we will look for your feedback. Thank you, guys.